Hello everybody. Today we're going to be talking about solving systems of linear equations by elimination. Now, elimination is the simple concept of trying to eliminate either your x values or your y values in your first steps. And for these two equations, you can see that the y values basically have exactly the same coefficient. However, because they are exactly the same, my goal is to make one of them the opposite of the other. And I'm going to choose equation 2 because there's some negatives here and I want to get rid of those. And if I'm trying to get rid of my y value, I end up with a positive 3x and a positive 5x, which I'll show you that step right now. So I'm going to choose that second equation down here, and I'm going to rewrite it. Negative 3x plus y equals negative 5. Now, in order to make this positive y negative, I have to multiply it by a negative 1. Negative and a negative becomes a positive. Negative and positive becomes a negative, and negative become a positive. And that's simply what you have to do, is distribute the negative in order to make this y its opposite. The next step that I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and solve for my x's, and that's the reason why I changed this in order to get rid of the y's. So I'm going to take this first equation up here, okay, and this new equation I created because I modified my second. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to rewrite 3x minus y equals 5. And I'm now going to combine that with this secondary equation. I'm going to bring that down into here, okay? And I'm going to have 8x plus y equals negative 16. And then from here, I simply do the math. And from here, I combine the two new equations. So I'm going to add these equations. 3x plus 8x is 11x. The y's cancel out because they're opposites, because I forced that issue up here. And 5 minus 16x is a negative 11. And then from here, you can see that I need to get rid of this 11, okay, or turn it into 1. So we have 1x. And whatever I do to one side, I have to do to the other. And I end up with x equals negative 1. All right, well, now that I know what x is, I kind of follow the same exact steps that I did with substitution. I come down to the bottom. The last step is the same, so this should be fairly familiar. You have substitute x to solve for y. You can go back up here and you can pick either one of these two equations. In this case, I'm going to pick this guy over here because I want to work with more positives than negative numbers. These have two negatives. This has one negative. So I'm going to go ahead and plug in this negative 1. Okay, and this x up here. So you come down to the bottom, rewrite that initial equation, which is 8x plus y equals negative 16. And then I'm going to substitute this x value in for this x. So I'm going to take this guy right here and I'll plug it in right there. So that means I have 8 times negative 1 plus y equals negative 16, which gives me negative 8 plus y equals negative 16. And then from here, I need to add 8 to both sides in order to isolate the y. This cancels out, and you will see at the very, very end, I end up with negative 16 plus 8, which equals negative 8. And there is your y value. So once you have your x, once you have your y, the solution to the system, negative 8 is your y value, and negative 1 is your x value. And then from here, you can plug those back in to the original two equations, just like we did in substitution, and you will see that these work out for both. Important step, very beginning, try and choose one of the equations that makes it easier for you to distribute. It's not always just going to be a negative. You might have to multiply one of these by 2, by 3, by a negative 2 or a negative 3 in order to make them their opposites. But try and make your life easy, work with smaller numbers, try and get to where you work with more positive terms rather than negative terms. And then you'll follow your steps of manipulating equations and isolating variables. All right, if you have any further questions, make sure you ask in class or click on some of the links below. I'm going to start adding those as we go through the unit. Log on and get the extra help. So hopefully this helps you with your homework and studying for your quizzes. All right, see you in class. Bye.